Well, I feel like I've had some success in my life, whether it's the church I pastor. I cannot believe I get to pastor this church. I've written several books, which has been phenomenal. I love my wife. We got a great marriage and family. A podcast. Right now I'm interviewing Jon Acuff. I mean, this is pretty fantastic, but I haven't had that like, I still see this gap between the potential of where I am and where I could be. And I don't know if you're at a place in life where you feel like that is coming together. I can see parts of it that are coming together, but I'm like, okay, God, like, I'm just going to keep being faithful, even though maybe the results are not what I hoped they would be at this point in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Your wisdom to that, you can share specifically to what I just shared with you, or just anybody who's felt that of like, hey, Jon, I actually feel like I have a goal. And I've been faithfully taking the steps, and I'm maybe not seeing what I would hope yet, and yet I feel like I'm supposed to continue running in the same direction, but I'm like, I just don't yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I would say, I don't think you're ever completely overlapped. I think there's always desire. Like, I hope I'm never I finished, like I'm done. Like, I think at the end of my life, well done, good and faithful servant. But my thing is like, I think about the parable of the landowner who gives the talents out. Like, I want to be a double the 5 dude. I want to be a double the 2 dude. Like, and then there's a party, then there's a celebration. And like, I want to approach life that way. Like that because if you think about that parable,
it's good.
He picked them based on their abilities. So they are already in motion. And then when they got the talents, it doesn't say, so then they spent 3 months trying to figure out what was the best way forward. It says they immediately put them to work. They were already doing the thing. So I want to be continually to do the thing. And then when God goes, hey, here's 5 more talents, I'm like, cool, I'll add it to the thing we're doing. Let's go. Yeah. And then we'll have a party. Like, so my thing is like, let's grab a shovel. That's where, like, I think a lot of people buried their gifts. So I'm like, let's grab a shovel. The one person who doesn't know how good the landowner is, let's go figure out how to grab a shovel. You buried some stuff. So I don't know that I don't feel like I've arrived. I feel very grateful for things I've accomplished. But I don't look at my desire as a bad thing. Like, if we're getting spiritual for a second, I look at
this is you're answering my last question without even getting the question. Like, just reflective about where you are right now.
No, so like, I look at it and go, if anything, we, like, believers have been divorced from desire. We're bad at desire. We undersell God's heart for our desire. And he's like, hey, a father wouldn't give you a snake. I'm going to give you something even better. Like, come to me, ask, knock, you'll receive. Like, there's so many verses that are like, you're dreaming too small. Like, and so for me, as the deeper I get to know my God, the bigger the ideas get, the more he satisfies. And then the other thing is that he's a type of God that I can be hustling on something and he can satisfy me with a breeze. And I go, oh man, today was like, the best part of today was like, there was this moment I was walking in the woods and it was one of those weird moments where you walk through like a warm pocket of air and it was just really cool. Like, whatever, like, it doesn't have to even be the final thing. And the flip side is, minus him, I can accomplish something amazing and not be able to enjoy it. So I'm much more going, okay, Jesus, you're like, I look at our faith and go, I think our God is the only God that, instead of saying, don't have attachments, don't have desire, cut off who you are, is going, no, let's make it bigger. Let's make it more exciting. Like, you're not painting with enough colors. Like, the thing I always say sometimes is like, there's 2 things I think about. One, like, he didn't have to make the Rockies. Like, it could have been all flat. Like whenever we as humans think about the future, we come up like a dystopian, everybody's wearing gray unitards. Like, it's all like, that's how we imagine. And like, God is like, no, the Rockies, it's colorful, it's beautiful. The second thing is, I love when we discover some like jellyfish that lives 5 miles below the sea and it's polka dotted. And for the last 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever years, it's just been for his enjoyment. And like, we finally find it and was like, why is this thing polka dotted in bright pink? And God's like, I just thought it'd be fun to make something super colorful that only I've enjoyed. Like, I'm glad you get to enjoy it now, but isn't it wild? So like, I feel like that's how I'm looking at my goals. And then I just think they shift. Like, I think they shift over time. So the questions I'm asking dudes like your age, my age is, Like, what's your number? And the number can be multiple things. It can be, there's a financial number I'm aiming to, because a friend of mine challenged me. I was like, once you hit your number, you won't stop. So you need to find a number. And then when you hit that, you need to turn around and help people. And I'm like, okay, cool. The number can be, what age do you want to kind of start to, change what you're doing? The number can be, how many hours a week do you want to invest in certain things? And so I'm thinking about like, okay, well, what's the number? And maybe I don't know the answer to that yet, but maybe it's that when I turn 50, I start spending 2% of my week giving back to other people, so that by the time I'm 60, I've got 20% of my week going to others where I'm not getting paid. And so I don't fall off a cliff when I turn 65 and decide to retire or whatever, and I lose my whole identity. Like, no, I've been pouring into relationships over a 10-year period, and I've been deliberate about it. Like, all right, cool. Cause like divorce, depression, and suicide skyrocket in your 60s because people aren't ready for it. I'm like, let's not wait until then. Like, I'm not going to be surprised by that. So I think it comes back to that. But I would say to you, that you feel like it's not perfectly connected is a great place to be in, because that's where you go, I'm still full of desire. Like I still desire other things, and I still have a conversation. The thing a friend of mine said, God's a light unto my path, not a light unto my mile. And I think about that. Like every time I pray for a map, he won't give it to me because he knows if I had a 5-year map, I'd worship the map, not the relationship. And so I'm like, okay, like then I get the relationship. I get the cartographer, not the map. And so if I can remember that, that's where I'm like, all right, we're in a good spot.